Welcome, folks. This is all minus one quick shots. So, folks, Davos 2021 started yesterday. The World Economic Forum, that is the folks who want to usher in the Great Reset, are having their meeting early this year. And boy, is it star-studded. So I'm going to play for you some videos very quickly, but let's briefly cover some of this stuff. This is the main video for the advertisement for what this whole thing is. What is the Great Reset Davos Agenda 2021? And if you see, right here it has 478 upvotes and over 4,000 downvotes, highly ratioed. And then they have their little description here. The pandemic has radically changed the world as we know it. No, government actors have done that. Government actors have used this as an opportunity, just like the World Economic Forum wrote. And they've repeatedly said. So the actions we take today as we work to recover will define our generation. It's why the World Economic Forum is calling for a new form of capitalism. There is no new form of capitalism. Capitalism is something very simple. Your capital is your labor. Your value is in your property and your labor, what you create and what you make. It's a very simple philosophical principle. There is nothing else. Anything else is some sort of Orwellian form of socialism and in the end, slavery. Why is it slavery? Because you cannot own your own labor or your own property, nor do you own yourself. You might say, well, Bill, what you don't own yourself if you got to work for somebody and da-da-da-da-da. Well, yes, because we live in a world of scarcity and there are certain rules to life. And one of those rules is, if you don't work, you don't eat unless you're unable. And those folks we provide charity for. We don't require the government to take care of them. Now we do in modern societies because we're foolish. But in the past, it was much different. So here it says, one that puts people and the planet first. Well, that's not putting the people and the planet first for capitalism isn't capitalism. It always goes back to the socialist, Marxist, utopian nonsense. This is Malthusianism is what it is. So let's look at the comments. Yeah, pretty sure that's called communism. Pick up a history book, folks. Notice their forum of trusted people is a panel full of people nobody trusts. If people of Davos were so worried about wealth inequality, how come they're still billionaires? Yes, I've said the same thing. The same people that caused the crisis now want to bully around and tax us for cleaning it up. Oy vey. Bill Gates, don't own property, live in cities. That's the new way. Also, Bill Gates becomes the number one owner of farmland in America and supports the World Economic Forum, of course. The world would be a better place if you all WEF folks just left on a rocket to Mars. Or when we have you put in jail. You won't have them put in jail, folks. They have all the power. The system is too built up. We've let the Leviathan grow and not cut off its head. It is a hydra, literally. You cut one part off, another part springs up. It says, laughing my butt off, we are going warp speed openly into global governance. Most people don't care. The ones who do not like, the ones who do don't like it. Yeah, they don't care because they don't understand. They don't understand what is at stake. They're fools. People disenfranchised by a broken system that these people put into place to begin with. The hubris of these people will result in great atrocities guaranteed. And it always, always does. And it's refreshing to see the few people that are paying attention, at least on the YouTubes, are downvoting this. So let's get into the video real quick.
The pandemic has radically changed the world as we know it.
No, it did not. No, it did not. Authoritarian governments did that. This thing is about nothing. It's an excuse. And they've said it is an excuse over and over again. If it was a great pandemic where just people were falling out left and right, you would know a lot of folks that died of this. And you probably don't. I know one. One person in my family has passed away from pneumonia after having the coof. I mean, come on. And I know dozens and dozens of people that have had this thing, that have tested positive for it.
Actions we take today as we work to recover will define our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
2020.
It's going to say that the governments were authoritarian and did ridiculous things by hurting the people, raising suicide rates, destroying businesses, consolidating money into the hands of the already ultra wealthy, and yeah, pretty much an overreaction. But it's not an overreaction. It was and always has been an excuse for authoritarianism.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental, and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
Yeah, because when you are forced by shutting down your businesses and being put at the point of a gun or economic sanctions like Attila's Gym in New Jersey, Ian Smith's gym, where they took $170,000 of his money from his bank account when the system is rigged and you cannot escape any of this, sure, we can rapidly change. Oh, this is so disgusting, the gaslighting here. It is like a significant other who beats you and says, well, it was your fault. It was your fault I got mad.
The recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature
No vaccine for the planet. No duh.
needs a bailout.
Nature needs a bailout. How are you going to bail out nature, folks? Well, their plan is Malthusian. They want to depopulate the earth and basically bring people back to a more primitive life. And those who live in city, they want to cluster most people in cities because they can control the city much better. I was covering this yesterday. I will continue with that probably tomorrow because I have some other stuff and international news to cover today.
You don't want to go back to the status quo that you had before simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything
The status quo that these folks created through the Bretton Woods system. Before that, it was FDR in the United States, but we didn't have really a global government then, as there was a League of Nations that was not very powerful. What happened was after the Second World War, these folks said, we are going to control every ounce of everything. And slowly, national sovereignty across all nations, has eroded away. And these players, these NGOs, non-governmental organizations, have dictated policy time and time again. This is why Brexit was a big deal. This is why they all say the same thing, like diversity is our strength. This is why they talk about the Great Reset and Build Back Better. This is why, folks.
falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before. Ways that better address so many of the challenges.
Solar panels, there's not enough land to do that. It also, the mining is very expensive and destroys the environment. Wind turbines kills birds. It also does not create a lot of energy. Technology, perhaps, will improve this.
Challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a great reset. A great reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination.
Because it
Hands
is.
up, this kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we
Like this little bit of propaganda here, not just propaganda, but it's subliminal. They have Great Reset and it says obey underneath, and then she just keeps talking.
all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system and pushed even further by the pandemic will suspect.
No, pushed by governments, pushed by folks who don't care because they're not listening to the people. They're not populist. They're not listening to the people as they're supposed to. They're only listening to the NGOs. Those are the ones who run things.
Global leaders of conspiracy. But the world's not that simple. Every one of us has differing priorities, values, and ideas. That's part of why solutions are so hard to come by.
Right, and it's also why it's better to decentralize instead of centralize. I'm going to play this video for you. Hopefully I have sound, because I tried to do this a minute ago and the sound didn't come through.
John
There we
Micklethwaite,
go.
the editor-in-chief at Bloomberg, but also I should disclose for this session at least.
So this is the
author
chief
a
of
book on
Bloomberg?
the Prime Minister of Greece. Used to rather look down on the Greeks, has a death rate of over 651.
There's old Fauci.
The US is up around 1,300.
By the way, folks, this is responding to the coup crisis, option 2, Davos agenda. So whether this plays or not,
Changing supply chains.
Primarily what I want you to see is the folks involved in this. So Prime Minister of Greece, that's pretty important. That's a pretty big deal. Dr. Fauci is here. Oh, if it'll load. There we go. It's not really showing it, but you can go look this up for yourself because that's really what's important here. Now, we also have this guy, special address by Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, Davos Agenda 2021. Guys, I'm not making this up. This is the World Economic Forum. Here is the intro by Klaus Schwab.
Distinguished heads of state and government, Your Excellencies, dear partners and members of the World Economic Forum, dear participants and friends, a very warm welcome to all of you to the opening of the Davos Agenda Week. I'm delighted that such a great global audience is joining us today, bringing together key leaders from politics, business, and all aspects of society. 2021 is a pivotal year, decisive in so many ways to shape our future. 2021 will be the critical year to re-establish trust in our ability to shape our common future in collective and constructive ways.
This is gaslighting to the nth degree. Trust in what? Trust in globalist oligarchs?
We must win the fight against the virus. We must reinvigorate global economic growth and make it more robust, more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable.
Not possible until you get us back on a gold standard. We're on fiat currency around the world, folks. There's nothing robust about it. It's monopoly money.
And at the same time, we must accelerate the transition to a net zero economy.
Net zero economy, that means net zero emissions. Impossible with current technology. Technologies are coming about, but impossible. By the way, folks, just a simple, basic understanding rule of economics is there is a consequence to everything. There's a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth order consequence to everything that you do, and there is no way to eliminate those consequences. There are trade-offs in everything that we do, in every relationship we have, and every exchange that we do, and everything we partake in. Now, some things improve. They get better. But there are also potentially negative consequences. This is just a reality. So here, if it will allow me to fast forward, is Mr. Xi.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the past year was marked by the sudden onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic. Global public health faced severe threat, and the world economy was mired in deep recession.
Now, he's not going to claim any sort of responsibility, and let us not forget that this is a regime currently right now that has been terrible to Nepal, Hong Kong with protests. Did you forget about that? The Uyghur Muslims who are in concentration camps, literally re-education gulags. They are sterilizing them and they are harvesting their organs. We know that they do this. This, folks, is the World Economic Forum for you. Go check them out, please. Go look at all the videos and all the great leaders they have here. Stakeholder capitalism. I'm sure you care about the little guy, because if you really cared about stakeholder capitalism, we would have free markets. This isn't about stakeholders. This is about the business owners and centralization of power. Here's Angela Merkel. Here's Emmanuel Macron. Come on, guys. I'm a conspiracy theorist, yes. Except for all the world leaders are talking mostly virtually, but at the summit about how they're going to change the world. And I'm the crazy one. And it goes on and on. Of course, we have old Greta there, like she's an expert in anything, being 18 years old. Interesting, if you type in Davos 2021, just my Google search, not signed in here, and also using a VPN, it says Bank of America, Davos Agenda 2021, Stakeholder Capitalism. From Quartz, read Xi Jinping's speech. And then the World Economic Forum, Wall Street Journal, Davos this year. Silent streets, good skiing. Yeah. And of course, you can go directly to their page and whatever else. Hey guys, despite all of this craziness, despite how things seem, we will survive. And the way that we're going to do that is by having our own societies, by scaling down and decentralizing. We need to unite. We need to quit arguing about stupid stuff. We don't need to fight. Violence isn't the answer. In fact, it is the tool of the globalists to divide us. This stuff about race and white privilege and whatever else, nonsense. It's simply meant to divide you. This idea of the underclass versus the proletariat. The proletariat is the one who came up, the bourgeoisie is the one who came up with the idea. Marx was part of the bourgeoisie. I'm going to be covering here in a longer segment in a few minutes some news around the world, and one of them is that people were shocked that Vladimir Putin had a $28,000 couch in his villa. What do I tell you every single time? They live in luxury. We saw the same thing with Saddam Hussein. We saw the same thing back in early communist Bolshevik Russia with Stalin. I guarantee you Xi Jinping lives in wealth. We know that what's his name? North Korea, Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il lives in great wealth. We know this stuff, folks. It's the way that it always goes. And you need to stop going, well, in theory, that should work this way, that way. I don't care about your theories. In practice is the only thing that matters. In practice, practical realities. Theory is not science, folks. It is nothing more than pipe dreams. Practicalities, though, they inform us. That is the start of wisdom. That and God. But that's another topic. So with all that, this has been all Minus One Quick Shots. I hope you enjoyed this, and I wish you all well.